All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast, episode number 40. 40.
Oh my gosh, we're almost to 50.
I know, that's insane. I don't know. It's crazy. Like, I was looking, though. So, for those of you who don't know, we do record on a weekly basis for the purposes of being ahead in case, we need to take a break. And if we would record every day, I mean, obviously we'd have double the episodes, but thinking about that, like we'd already be at 50 as of like last year. And then right now, current episode would be like in the 60s or 70s already. So thinking about that, it's like, damn, like I didn't realize how much less we were putting out as a bi-weekly content release schedule.
Yeah, we do have a lot of less episodes than people who have started like at the same time or a little like after us.
Yeah, and they do like weekly releases or even like they'll do 2 episodes a week, which I mean, props to y'all, but we just don't have the time for that.
Yeah, so this is just what works for our schedule. I think it works really well though because we have time to kind of like catch up on like how we're feeling and kind of like what's inspiring us. We don't feel rushed to put out like just something to fill in the gap.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I feel like the big thing too is like not a lot happens on a week to week basis that I think could, give an entire episode, right?
No, yeah, like honestly, we do the same like 3 things all the time. And it's just like, I would say like quote unquote bigger things, like, going to school, working out,
Yeah.
hanging out. But when we hang out, like, we're honestly just chilling the whole time. We don't do a lot of things.
Yeah.
We have been like going to different like little cities.
Yeah, like little towns. Like yesterday, as of the recording of the episode, we went to Green, Texas, and that was really fun. We got coffee, had some lunch, walked around. It was really chill. And then we got to see my brother at the what is it? What was it called?
Oh, hold on. Let me see.
It was like the arts center or whatever.
The Tobin Center.
Tobin Center. That's what it was. Like Tobin Performing Arts Center. He did amazing. The Stevens High School band, I mean, absolutely incredible. He did so good in all of the songs that he was playing, and shout out to his friend as well. I won't name drop him, but he was killer on the drum set. So if you're listening, you know who you are. You killed it, bro. I wanted to say hi and congratulate you on how amazing you did, but I don't know. It was a pretty fun day yesterday, and so it began very very nice, and it ended very nice. So overall, it was just an amazing day.
10 out of 10, honestly. No, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I like going out with you and like not being in San Antonio. There's just something about that gives me like...
It's a different vibe.
Yeah, it's a nice feeling. I really like it. I feel like we're on like a trip, but it's literally just like a day trip.
Yeah, I like it too because like we went to Fredericksburg too recently, and going to those little towns is nice because it's only about an hour and a half away. I mean, even Austin, which is 2 hours away, it's not far,
Yeah, the only thing about Austin though is like it has a bunch of traffic.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like San Antonio.
In a way.
Yeah, so I mean, I still like it. Like, I love where we go, and we have like this one bookstore, Book People, that like we've already hit up twice.
Yeah, shout out to Book People. Y'all should check it out in Austin.
Yeah, it's kind of just like finding those hidden spots, I think, in Austin that are kind of like chillaxed and not like too rushed.
We still have so much more to explore, though. I mean, in all the towns, like we got more to explore at Green. Probably hit them up again. Fredericksburg, there was shops that we had to go to that we missed. Like the historic district, we didn't walk through like and look at all the different historical architecture and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was just like super hot.
It was very hot.
So we're probably gonna go in the fall for like that portion.
That should be really fun. But no, in Austin, I mean, we've gone twice now, and both times we did different things. We ate at different restaurants, got different coffee, but there's so much more to explore. Cause I mean, it's like San Antonio. Like I've lived here for a long time, and I have yet to do everything here. You know, San Antonio, there's so much to offer, and Austin is very similar, and it's just there's a lot of different things to do.
No, yeah, there's definitely a lot of things. I just like the small town like vibe.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I agree. It's nice.
Like
It-
that's what I'm looking for
Yeah.
when I say I want to relax and like go out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind like going out in like a bigger city. It's just something different, like I said.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's been chill. So I guess like right now during the summer we're kind of doing stuff on a week to week basis. There's things going on, but you know during the school semester, it's definitely grind time. It's essentially just us doing a lot of homework, and that's really it.
Yeah, but we still like find topics. They
Yeah,
kind of just take us a little longer because we don't want to put things out that aren't like fun to us or like
interesting.
inspirational. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. I know we've had episodes in the past where we kind of just go off a whim and kind of talk about whatever, and sometimes those can lead to like really solid episodes. But other times, like, those might be some of our weaker episodes, both in like how I feel about it, but also in like view count.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you see, like, user retention, people will tap out after 15 minutes, right? And I'm like, damn. But then you look at other episodes, like the Am I the Asshole one has like 98% user retention, meaning people probably skip out on that last part when we're like, be sure to follow us. And then they're like, no,
They're like,
we're good.
Yeah.
But you know, it's interesting to see that, and like it definitely shows that like when we talk about stuff that we're passionate about, that's when people tune in, you know.
Mm-hmm.
When they really square in and like listen to what it is that we're saying, which we appreciate. Really appreciate all the love on the podcast recently, and shout out to my campus rec coworkers. I know some of y'all have started to listen to the podcast, so hello. And yeah. No, I appreciate y'all for tuning in too. I don't know, like I'll bring it up at work or like at other places, and they're like, damn, you have a podcast? I'm like, I mean, yeah, me and my girl, we got a podcast, pretty chill. And they're like, what do y'all talk about? And I was like, damn, like I really need to refine the answer to that question. It's like the elevator pitch. You know, you got 30 seconds to like get across what it is that you are to a professional that you want to work for, right? Well, in that same sense, it's like when people ask, what is your podcast about? I need like a quick 30-second, like 2-sentence thing that I can spit out that's like perfectly encompasses what our podcast is about. Because we're not extremely niched down to the point where we're talking about singular topics. It's more so like current events, life stories, or fun things like the Am I the Asshole Reddit stories.
Mm-hmm.
Then also like college and like being a couple in college, you know. So it's kind of broad, but we definitely are in a small niche. Like we're more like, how can I say, like demographic based. Like we definitely are targeted towards a specific age demographic.
Mm-hmm.
You
I
know?
will agree.
Like I mean anybody of any age can listen to us, but I think the people that typically tune in are between the ages of like 18 and 26. Those are our highest listeners. Like those are their age.
Yeah. I don't know. Whenever I bring it up, I kind of bring it up casually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or like, I usually don't bring it up. Like I will
Mhm.
tell somebody else because they ask like, what do I do outside of like
Yeah.
school and stuff, and I'll tell one person, and then they
Everybody
tell
knows.
everybody else.
Yeah.
And after that, I feel like I tell them like, oh, it's lifestyle, college,
Mm-hmm.
definitely surrounding like our age. That's usually what I say.
Yeah.
Because most of the people I talk to are around the same age as us.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, kind of like what we're going through and like things currently happening or things we find cool.
I mean, I think that was one of our biggest issues when we first started the podcast was we didn't really know what direction to take it. We just kind of started talking about things that we thought would be interesting. I mean, it was also things that we were like interested in ourselves, but we didn't have like a like an overarching theme or like a
Mm-hmm.
goal. Like, what is it that what are we trying to make this podcast about? You know, what is it? What is the goal of it? You know, why is somebody gonna come and listen to it? And like, I watch like YouTube videos about podcasting and like how to grow a listener base and stuff like that. And a lot of it is like, what's the why? Like, why is it worth it for somebody to come listen to you? You
Mm-hmm.
know, and it doesn't have to be like this big thing, like, you know, you're going to learn about the secrets of life and just you're going to know how to navigate through college. Like, no, it's just sometimes it is as simple as like we offer a similar or like engaging perspective on things that people find entertaining or thought provoking. And so that could be what somebody gets out of it. Or you look at like other podcasts like the Tiny Meat Gang podcast or like the Two Bears One Cave with the comedians that I really enjoy. You know, theirs is purely entertainment and like comedy, you know, like you listen to it, you're laughing, you're having a good time. You know, there's not really a lot of like thought provoking interviews on those types of
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
podcasts. I mean, sometimes they can get deep every now and then, but for the most part, you know, it's just good fun entertainment. And so, I don't know, it's very interesting because a lot of the, I was gonna, I mean, yeah, a lot of the podcast friends we have are like the podcast who we follow and who follow us. Like some of them can be very niche. Like I know one of the podcasts that we follow and that follow us on Instagram, they strictly talk about like iCarly. Like they're an iCarly podcast. They'll like watch episodes, talk
Oh
about
yeah,
it,
yeah.
get like in depth with it, and you know that's like extremely niche. Like that is a specific targeted audience talking about a specific thing. You know, it's not broad at all, really.
Yeah.
And you know that works for a lot of people. I mean, even look at like there's another podcast I used to listen to, and it was like about investments and stuff, and like when I really was into investing, which I mean I'm still like keeping up with it, but I'm definitely not investing at the moment. For one, I can't really afford it, but also the market is just crazy right now. So if you're in that, like RIP to you, bro. I'm with there. I'm with there. I'm right there with you because portfolio is down horrendous right now. But you know, like it's strictly talking about financial stuff. So I don't know. It's just interesting. This was like a fat ass tangent. We haven't even gotten into
I know. I was
the
like,
topic of today's
what is our
episode.
topic again? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So okay. So to kind of gloss all over that, the topic of today's episode is actually going to be about our relationships,
Mm-hmm.
and not specifically like Marisol and I, like being in a significant other relationship, you know, but you know that alongside like our relationships with friends, with family, with inanimate objects like food, you know, like how do we look at that now as opposed to how we used to look at it back then? And when I say back then, I'm kind of referring to high school, 'cause I think that's the nearest time that I could see where I was kind of discovering myself. And so that's like as far back as I can really remember,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Um I don't know, like how do you feel? Do you feel like you've changed a lot from back then? Like I guess to start, let's talk about us. Let's talk about us
Okay.
first. So I know we talked
No, no. I'm
um
scared of what you're gonna say.
I'm just trying to think like, okay, so when we first started when we first got together, right?
Yeah.
We were very much in that like puppy love phase. Like you
Mm-hmm.
talked about, I think it was when we were on our way to Green or when we
Oh,
were in Green.
yesterday.
We were talking about it. And I mean, I'm gonna tell y'all some of the shit we did. Like I'm not gonna get into some like really personal stuff, but like this one particular thing that we used to do. I don't know what provoked us to do it, but every morning and every night, a good morning text and a good night text would be paragraphs long.
They were essays.
We were fucking sending essays to each other every morning and every night with like, I mean, pages of emojis, like crazy amounts of emojis. Like, I don't know how much could I say? I felt like I was repeating the same thing paragraph by paragraph, but just wording it differently, talking about how much I love you, I'm going to be there for you. And I'm like, damn, like I look back and I'm like, how did I have the mental capacity to do that first thing in the morning?
That's so crazy because now, like, I can barely, like, text good morning because
I,
I'm barely waking up.
I know sometimes we don't even like throw emojis in that bitch. Like we're just so fucking tired. We're like, good morning. That's it. Like
And
no
I'm
punctuation.
like, good
Nothing.
morning, babe.
I know. And then we'll fall back asleep. And it's like we're completely different from how we used to be. And that's not to say that we don't love each other as much. If anything, I feel like I love you more, but it's more
Mm-hmm.
so like my perspective on our relationship has changed a lot.
Me too. Going back to, like, those text messages, it's so funny because I know we kind of talked about this yesterday. We were kind of, like, fighting each other, like, to see who could send the most that day.
Yeah, low key it got competitive. Like I'd send something
And I
it
would
was,
have to send, like, double.
yeah, and you'd send something bigger and I'm like, this bitch, bro. And I gotta
And then
amp it up.
it was just a cycle.
Yeah.
And to, like,
Yeah.
keep in mind, like, we did FaceTime at night.
Yeah.
So, like,
This was in addition to that
how,
shit.
how much more was there to
What
say?
the fuck, bro?
Because now, like, we'll be like, okay, good night, love you. And then, like, that's it. And then, like, we just hang up.
Yeah. And I don't know, like, so it's the crazy thing too. Like, so we were in high school and first serious relationship, in my opinion. Like, I've had two past relationships prior to you, but it was like short middle school relation, like nothing
Mm-hmm.
real there,
Yeah.
you know? And so being with you and experiencing what I felt like was like true love for the first time, like, significant other type of love,
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
love. Like that song from Let It Shine, more than I like more than I love.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Baby,
yeah.
I'ma make you mine. Anyways, so I was feeling that, right? Going bananas. So I didn't know how to act. And, I knew there was like the general, like, be a gentleman, be chivalrous, shit like that. But I didn't know like how to express what it was that I'm feeling. And I felt like I just had to continuously shower you with affection, with reassurance, with all of these things when in reality I didn't need to do that.
Mm-mm.
I was trying to prove to you that I was like worthy of being with you. I don't know how to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wanted to keep you and I didn't want you to think that I was like neglecting you. You know what I mean? That came out really weird.
It's like, am I a dog?
No,
Like,
no. Like I wanted you to stay with me. That's what I meant.
yeah, yeah.
I don't want you to think that like I wasn't into you. But I don't know. I feel like my actions were proving that, right? So
Your actions were they very much were proving,
yeah.
like, your feelings. You probably didn't have to say, like, anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you couldn't have sent those messages. I know we wrote, like, letters to each other.
Yeah.
Like, you probably couldn't have done any of that.
Yeah.
And I would have known that, like, you cared about me.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it very much set the platform for, like, our relationship.
Uh-huh.
Because, I mean, what else could we do? You
Mhm.
know?
Yeah.
Like, we've already shown and, like, said all of the things that we're feeling. It's kind of just like, now we can just chillax. We got past that and we don't have to, like, do it continuously.
It's kind of the way that I can think about it was similar to an addiction. I was addicted to going to these crazy lengths to show you that I love you. Or I wasn't even like, at that point, it wasn't even trying to show you that I love you. It was literally just trying to do anything and everything to like express my internal feelings. I don't know. I don't know how to say it. Like, I knew that I loved you. I said that I loved you. But then what I was doing was just kind of extra. There was already
Mhm.
whipped cream and a cherry on the shake.
Now
I
you're just
decided
adding sprinkles.
I was throwing sprinkles on top, which were unnecessary. And I don't know. I definitely agree with you though. Like now that we're past that, we're at this stage in our relationship where it's very chill and mellow, and we have an understanding of each other's personal time and like how important that is, and like how we have responsibilities that we have to do.
Yeah, and I feel like that's something that kind of also changed because back then we hung out. I mean, we hang out a lot now,
Yeah.
but we hung out every day, like every second, constantly
Mhm.
texting each other, FaceTiming. And I mean, I enjoyed it, you
Mhm.
know, but definitely like growing up, we have more responsibilities and, other priorities, like you
Yeah.
are like a priority, but we both have school,
Mm-hmm.
you know, work. There's just other things that we have to take into account. Our mental health, like,
Yeah.
it's a lot. Sometimes you just need a little separation. And that doesn't mean like, oh, like I don't want to be with you. It's
Mm-hmm.
just like, you know, like I want to take a nap or
Yeah.
something, you know?
Yeah. That's the thing that I think changed the most for me. And I think the thing that helped our relationship the most too is kind of realizing that we didn't need to do everything together, be with each other 24/7. Like it was okay to be by ourselves, right? And it was okay to not constantly sacrifice a lot of things for the sake of being with the other person, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. I feel like we're just at a much better place now. We've definitely matured a lot more. I think in both the way we act with just each other and the way we act in public has definitely changed for the better. And we definitely express a lot more maturity, in my opinion.
Yeah. Because I know we talked about this a little bit, I think in a previous episode, but we like post each other on social media a lot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we
now,
did.
like,
It's.
I mean, I still post you a lot,
Mhm.
but I'm not writing like a paragraph for the caption or something.
Yeah.
It's just like happy birthday or I love you or
Yeah, we used
you
to
know?
be on some shit back then too. Yeah. A lot of those posts I archived
Me too.
because I was like, damn, like, what was we on? Like, and it's not to say that like I disliked that. It's just we've definitely there's been an evolution in our relationship, and those posts are definitely a misrepresentation of where we are at now.
Yes.
We've grown a lot. So
Yeah, it's kind of like, well, I don't know if you watched it, but Taylor Swift, like, she graduated from NYU within,
I did see the
I think it's
tweets
like an
about
honorary
it. Yeah.
doctorate degree.
Yeah.
Well, she had a speech, right? And it was kind of like embrace. One of her quotes was like embrace the cringe or something, because you're gonna look back, even now, like we're gonna look back and be like, oh, that was cringe. Even the word
Yeah.
cringe, you know, like
Yeah.
it's gonna come out and be like, no. So it's kind of like, it's funny to look at, but don't be like so like embarrassed by it, you know,
Yeah.
because everybody has
Yeah.
like those moments.
Yeah. No, definitely. Like, I definitely look back and I'm like, fuck, that was cringe. Like, and not even just stuff that we've done, but like stuff that I've done on my own.
Oh, me too.
And I mean, you just got to move past it. Because at the end of the day, like, you might be the only one that's thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And like anybody else who was in the same room or in the vicinity or who was there who heard it, you know, they might not even remember that or like even recall it. Maybe unless you bring it up to them. But like, you know, if you never bring it up to them, it's never going to be remembered.
Yeah,
You know?
and it's kind of like you're so focused, right? Like for an example, you're focused on like things you did, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm focused on things I did. I don't remember anything that you did that was
Yeah.
like quote unquote like
Cringe.
cringe. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. I don't know. The specific thing that comes to mind for me was like, I don't know who, well, I do know who it was, but we were at Whataburger and we were like holding hands across the booth and just being, you know, like, it was PDA, public display of affection. We were there doing that across the booths and, somebody from our,
holding hands.
yeah, but somebody from our school was recording us and posted on their socials. And then one of our other friends showed us, and it was like the caption was like, "What the fuck are these? What are they doing, bro?"
I did not see it.
Yeah, and
You told me about it.
yeah, and I'm like, "Damn, bro, we got caught in 4K." Like, and I was pretty embarrassed, but I was like, I mean, what are you gonna do, you know? So, no, I still think about that sometimes. I'm like, man, like, we really got clowned. Then that made me overthink too. I'm like, damn, there been other times. Motherfuckers just recorded us without us knowing and posted on their spams or some shit, like. And so
honestly, like it's funny.
yeah,
It's funny to me because I don't know, like I don't care,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. Now at this point, I don't really care, but like back then, I was bugging a little bit. Not gonna lie.
Like, honestly, back then I didn't care
Yeah,
either.
I cared back then a lot.
I don't know, like I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think I cared. Because I think he told me, I didn't see it, so maybe it's different. But I was just like, oh, okay. I didn't think too much about it,
mm-hmm.
which is interesting.
No, I mean, that was definitely like something that changed with myself. Like, I guess the relationship with my inner self changed as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I definitely, back then, I cared a lot about what other people thought about me. And I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
still do. I think every person, to an extent, cares about what others think about them. But back then, it was to the point where I'd really try to change myself so that others would like me, as opposed to just being myself. And I mean, to an extent, I do that still, but it's not as extreme as it was. Right now, it's kind of like, you know, how you're a different person around your parents than you are with your friends,
Mm-hmm.
or like how you're a different person at work than you are in personal life. Like, it's kind of that vibe now. But beforehand, it was kind of like I was trying to be somebody who I wasn't to fit in with a crowd that I didn't really want to be with, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm at a point where I don't do that anymore. And so I'm a lot happier. But I don't know. I think it's interesting to think about or like look at it that way.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like similar instances for myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I don't know if like I personally like changed
Yeah.
like who I was for other people, but I definitely think like I act different around certain people,
Yeah.
but it's more so because they bring out a different side of like who I am.
Yeah.
Like they're all me. Like I
Mm-hmm.
still have the same thoughts. I still say like the same stuff, or like I act like similar. I think just depends. I think I act the most differently with my family and your family, just because they're family. Like I'm not gonna act the same way that I
Yeah.
act like with my friends or like with you with our family.
I definitely try. I think I act the most different with my friends probably.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not saying much though, because I'm very comfortable with you and my parents as well. Like now that I'm older and so is my brother, we have a much. I mean, that's another thing to talk about that I guess we can kind of get into is the relationship with our family. And to be more specific with me, like my parents and my
Mm-hmm.
brother, it's changed a lot. Because I know, like middle school, even high school, I didn't value my time with my family as much as I do now. Back then, it was very much, I would much rather go hang out with my friends, or I would much rather stay in and play video games than go downstairs and say hi to the family. You know, I'm in the middle of a
Mm-hmm.
game right now. Why am I going to go downstairs and say hi to my grandparents or my tío and tía? That was very much the mentality. And I know saying it sounds like I was an asshole, but I think it was more so like I didn't have my priorities where I have them at now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I prioritized spending time with friends online or in person as opposed to my family. And so now that's changed very much. And I think that happened primarily during COVID,
Mm-hmm.
just because I realized how little time I spent with them during high school, you know, and it was in part due to me being busy,
Mm-hmm.
but also just my lack of, I guess, prioritizing spending time with them, right? Because it was kind of
Mm-hmm.
like I had a lot of stuff with school and we went to the gym and I was with you and I still wanted to hang out with my friends and I had family. And it was like the thing that I gave up more often than not was spending time with family. So then after COVID hit, the outlook on, I guess, how things can change from one day to the next, you know? Not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily like someone dying from one day to the next, but like, you know, somebody might move, somebody might get sick, somebody, yes, could pass away, or like, you know, a lot of things can change. And so then I was like, I need to really cherish my family right now and I need to spend time with them and I need to have a good time with them because I wanted to nurture that relationship and not
Mm-hmm.
be older and then, you know, I'm with you and then all of a sudden I'm not close to my family, you know?
Yeah.
Like I want to invite them over to our house in the future and like have dinner and stuff like that. And so I like now I really value time with my family, with my brother, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And Same thing with my tío and tía, my grandparents and such. I really look forward to holidays. Like I know I've expressed this in the past in a previous episodes about how much I love Christmas. Like favorite time of the oh my god, I'm getting hyped up just talking about it right now. I love Christmas so fucking much. But I think the biggest thing that I love about it right now is the time that I spend with family. I see them whenever we do things. I see them frequently because, it's the holiday season. My birthday's around that time. And so I see them for that. Thanksgiving, Christmas coming up, New Year's. I'm seeing my family so much. We're having get together. We're eating food. We're enjoying each other's presence. And that's why I enjoy it so much. And I value that time with them so much more than I did before, And even now, like, that relationship has gotten better now that our relationship has matured more. Before, it's like, even though I valued my time with them, I was constantly on the phone texting you if you weren't with me. And then when you were with me, it was like I was only with you. So even though I was there, I wasn't really there. I was with you the whole time, which that's not bad because you were new to coming to these family events. And, I didn't want to just leave you there awkwardly. And so, now we're at a point where I'm okay with like getting up and walking over to spend time with my grandpa and my tío and such. And, like have those family moments, but also have you there. So now I'm getting the best of both worlds. And, we've matured in a way where that's not bothering us.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. It's just interesting to like look at that and be like, damn, and I guess to kind of circle back to why I got into it, my relationship with my parents, to be more specific, is very much like now that I'm older. I don't want to say, it is a friendship, honestly. Like I'm very comfortable around them. Like we cuss a lot around each other and make some pretty.
They're interesting for sure.
Yeah, we make some off-color jokes every now and then, and it's like you typically would not do that with your parents, yet here we are. And I wouldn't have it any other way. We laugh together, we enjoy food together, we talk about stuff, and it's like, and I can comfortably go to them and talk about these life issues that I'm having. And, I see them, yes, as my parents first and foremost, but they're also friends that I can go to and trust. They're family friends, familial or whatever. I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah.
How would you say your relationship with your parents or your family? Do you think it's changed? Do you think it's the same?
Honestly, it's the same.
Yeah. You don't think anything has evolved it, like us being together? Do you think that's changed your relationship with your parents in any way? Or now that you're older in college?
I don't know.
Yeah?
Yeah. My parents are very old school. So, I'm not like very old school. They're just kind of old school. I'll give them some credit. They let me do things that maybe others wouldn't let their children do. But I don't know. I don't think it's changed that much. I think my values have changed. So like I value, like you said, time with my family more. And like when I don't see them, even for just like 2 days, like I kind of get like sad. Like it takes a toll. It takes a toll on me.
Man, really?
Yeah. So like I haven't seen them these last 2 days. Specifically, I haven't seen like my mom. And like when I've seen my dad or my sister, it's just been like super fast because I've been out and like doing things. Like I come home late. And like today I was super sad when I woke up. And one of the things was because like I missed them.
Uh-huh.
So it's like that has changed. Because if you would have asked me in high school, I never saw my family. Like, not really. I had to be up early for one to get to school if there were like extracurricular things I had to do. And then I would stay late because I had extracurriculars.
Mm-hmm.
And so I rarely saw my family. I would see them on the weekends. And yeah, that was really it. Mm-hmm. Now, like, I want to have dinner with them.
Yeah.
And like when we don't have dinner together, I get upset. Like because I'm like, let's have dinner together. But like everybody eats sometimes at different times because my mom will get home later, my dad has work, and then like my sister, she just goes to her room. But like it's different. So I feel like I'm now the one that's like let's have dinner together.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely like want to see my grandparents. Like I wanted to see my grandparents before too, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like more of like a want.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel it more in my heart. Like I said, I wanted to before, but it's kind of like I always had the opportunity to go see them because I wasn't working when I was in high
Yeah.
school. But now that I'm working and I work on the weekends, it's like I don't see them. And I definitely feel like sad because of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think like my views on family have changed. That's not saying like I didn't want to hang out with them before. It's just like you said, like priorities when you're young, or I guess you want to like hang out with your friends and like be out.
Yeah.
But now that I've gotten older, like I really don't want to go out. Like I'll
Yeah.
go out every now and then, but I mainly want to hang out with like my family or your family.
Mm-hmm.
That's like where I'm more comfortable. I love hanging out with my friends, but it's not like as much.
I agree with you on that. Like, I love hanging out with my friends. Always have a great time. And they get together pretty often, but sometimes I can't go simply because I know I have work and I know that like I'm talking early, like opening shifts like 5:45 in the morning is when I have to open, meaning I'm waking up at 4:45. So it's like I have to prioritize. And I know that in high school, I wouldn't have done that. I would have pulled up, been like, I'm here, bitches. Would have left probably wherever the function was being held at like 3 in the morning, tried to get in like an hour's sleep and then go to work. I would have done that. I have done that. And I just don't see myself being able to do that anymore. And, so I definitely appreciate the time that I do get to spend with my friends. Like when they're like, let's hang out, and I'm like, let's go. Like I don't go into work till later the next day, or I'm off that next day, and I'm like, yes, like let's get this shit rocking, and I have a great time. But it's definitely different. Like I'd much rather go out with you or like my family, or prioritize getting some sleep because I have work the next day, than go and hang out with my friends. Because I know that it's very likely that there's going to be another day that I'm going to be able to hang out with them.
Mm-hmm.
So missing one night of chilling isn't going to kill me as much as it used to.
Yeah, I will say though, like with my friends, we're all really busy. Like
Yeah.
at school still.
Yeah, all your friends are busy.
Even though it's like summertime. But like I'm trying to like think a way to put this.
Mm-hmm.
We still talk to each other. It's not like we just completely like ghost each other, like
Yeah.
when we're not hanging out. But it's like when we do hang out, it's like the best time. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like we just have this understanding of like we're all busy. Like we still want to talk to each other, but like we have stuff going on. Like I have law school, others have like medical school, or just school like in general,
Yeah.
even work. So there's just a lot of things that like we have to do,
Yeah, it's crazy. Like you and your friends are just like on grind time.
like
Always
all the time.
Always doing some shit. Seems like me and my friends got a lot of free time. I don't know what that says about us, but it's insane.
Well, it's definitely like different careers too.
Yeah,
I don't
that
know.
is true. I'm in the business school for marketing. So I think it's definitely an easier track than law school, if I had to say anything about that.
Oh my gosh, law school. I don't even want to think about it.
I guess that's another thing we could get into. How's your relationship with school, you would say? What do you...
Oh, we're in a love-hate relationship. right
Love,
now.
hate? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, not specifically the classes, but
Just like school in general.
school in general. What's the first thought that comes to mind when you think school? When you think going to the university? First thing that comes to mind.
When do I need to wake up?
Okay.
Because I don't want to be late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, what does that cause?
Causes stress. Because I don't know like when I need to go to sleep, or like
Yeah.
if it's late and I'm like, damn, No, I love going to school.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like driving over there, but
Yeah.
I like learning. But like I said, I don't like driving over there. It's a long drive. kind of.
Yeah.
It's mainly the traffic, I think, that like makes me upset, because I never know like how it's gonna be. So I'm like, when should I wake up? When should I leave? Because I don't want to be there an hour before my 8 a.m. class. Like, that's 7 o'clock. But no, no, no. I enjoy like my classes that I've had.
Yeah.
I like the small like community. Everybody can speak like freely. No one's being judged. You know, we're a private university, so maybe that's why. The teachers are open. Sometimes they get a little aggressive, just because they're like passionate. I don't know. And it's really interesting to see like how different our college experiences have been. Like, we both go to universities, but
I go to a public one.
yeah. And it's just like, it's different, you know?
It is a very different experience.
And I feel like, because you will miss class, right?
Yeah.
It's not mandatory. And for some of my classes, it's not mandatory either, right? But I do not want to let that professor down, because we have a relationship.
Yeah,
So
I don't
it's
know
like,
any of my professors personally.
no, like I talk to all of them, and like, not like we're best friends, but like say hello, good morning, like how are you doing? They'll ask, I'll ask them. But like, I don't want to miss, because I don't want them to be like, you're not showing up for class, like you're not putting in the effort.
Yeah.
Because if they were to tell me that I wasn't doing enough, I would feel horrible. And it's because like we've built this sort of like relationship, you know?
Yeah.
And other times attendance is mandatory. It's part of my grade. And you don't have that. Like, they could care less if you went to class. And it's like, mine care if I go to class. And like, if I'm doing okay. So I love that part. I love the community. But some things, I'm just a stressful person. So anything with academics is going to stress me out.
Yeah.
I just have to be like ahead. And even though I'm ahead, I feel behind.
So do you feel like, you know, your attitude and what you feel towards university right now, do you think it's been amplified, or do you think it's changed in any way since your freshman year, since your first semester at St. Mary's? How do you feel now?
I think I'm the same.
Yeah.
I still prioritize school very much. I have, like, I know where I'm heading, and nothing is going to stop me from getting there. So even if I'm stressed out, or like I'm going through something, like, I will get to the end, and I will do good. I will say, like, there was a point where I wanted all 100s, because my freshman year, first semester, I pretty much got 100s. And I was like, all right, I can do this every time.
Yeah.
Then the next semester happened, and I all A's, but they weren't 100s. And I still get A's, but I've looked at my GPA, and because I set myself up for a good platform, I'm like, okay, I can handle a lower grade. Not a C.
Yeah.
But I can handle like having a lower grade, like a B.
Yeah.
So that is the only thing, though.
Like,
I've allowed myself 1 B, and I already got it. And so that's it. Like, now I have to get all A's. And I don't know. It's like I said, like, I know where I'm going, and nothing's going to stop me. And I don't think like my view on that has changed. I definitely think I prioritize my mental health a little more. That's why I was like, you know what? Our GPA can handle a B.
Yeah.
We're not going to study 8 hours a day for me to get the same grade. Because even if some stuff, like, I think I talked about this, like math, I just was not getting.
You just weren't grasping the concept.
I didn't take it for like a year or so. So everything that I had learned up until that point just went away.
Yeah.
You know, it was an 8 a.m. class. I tried, but some things you're just not going to get. And my friend, she got into UT Health, and she told me she got to be in algebra. And I was like, you know what? You got into UT Health. You got to be. I'm okay. You know, like, I needed that, because I feel like when you think of law school, at least me personally, I think of like You have to be a straight A student. You have to have really good attendance. You need to be in all of these extracurriculars, which is all true. But they're also the university that I'm applying to.
Yeah.
It's St. Mary, so I'm going to the same one.
Mhm.
They understand that life happens, you know? And I've talked to like I think they're called like
The advisors.
no, they're not advisors. They're for the law school, the admissions, like board, right? And I've like asked them questions because I've gone to like open houses, and they're like, we understand that like some stuff you're just not gonna get. If we see that you have like a C in one class and it's the one out of like A's and B's, right? Like we understand that some stuff you're not gonna get. You know, it's not gonna be detrimental to why, like whether you get in or not. You know, they're just really trying to see that you put in the work.
Yeah.
And if it's like the one low grade that you have out of everything else, like that's okay. And they even mentioned how you can make like a note if it's like a lower grade, like what happened, like were you just not getting it? Did you try really hard? Like, did you put in effort? Did you were you going through something? You know, like why did you get this grade? They're saying like it's not mandatory that you do that, but they're like if you want to do that, so we can see that, like that's okay.
Yeah.
They're like, but if it's a B, don't even worry about it. And I heard that, and I was like, oh, say less, girl. Like, thank God you just saved my mental health, because I was about to struggle for this A. And I don't know. So I think my view on that has changed, but my goals, no, I don't think so.
I definitely see a small evolution
Yeah, it's
in
really
the way
minuscule.
you're approaching stuff. You needed that.
I needed reassurance that I was gonna get in.
Yeah, it was, what was it like? You needed, yeah, third party reassurance.
Yeah, because like you'll tell me it's okay, but like
Yeah.
no,
No, I get it. Like,
like I trust you, right?
uh-huh.
I believe that it's gonna be okay, but like you're not the admissions board.
I mean, I get it. Yeah.
Like I need them to tell me it's gonna be
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And I guess it's just because like I've put in a lot of work, and I was like, I'm not gonna let this one class like deter me from that.
Be
Is
your
that the right
make or
word?
break. Yeah, I guess
I don't know,
it works.
but anyways, like, I don't know. Yeah, so I really just needed like that reassurance.
Yeah.
So that's not saying like I'm giving up and I'm like, excuse my language, half-assing everything. But it's like, well, I don't cuss, okay? So it's just like the best word to use.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't want like anyone to think like I'm not putting in the effort anymore.
Yeah.
It's just like I said, I wasn't getting it,
Uh-huh.
and I think with everything going on, I needed to focus on how I was feeling. And it was already the end of the semester. I had enough stress as it was. I wasn't going to force myself to learn an entire semester's worth of curriculum in like a week.
Yeah.
Because that would have been really hard. Like, for one, I was barely getting it already. And I don't know. I still did good.
Mm-hmm.
And I just needed to understand that, like, it's okay. It's not the end of the world that I didn't get an A.
Yeah.
I'm going to make up for it somewhere else. That's all that matters. I just have more of like an incentive to work harder now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I definitely see that. I don't know. For me,
We're just so different academic wise. Yeah. And so like I feel like when I tell you like how I think about like school or like how I was talking about work earlier today.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't know. It's just where I come from.
I mean, I get it. Like I was there at one point, but I had dramatic changes in my life.
Yeah, and I don't know, like back to like the relationships with our parents.
Mm-hmm.
Like my family is great, you know, or my family great. Like they're biggest supporters, you know, they love me, all that stuff. Like we can talk if I really need to.
Yeah.
But work, school, I can't give up.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of talked about that last episode, the
Yeah.
mental health one.
Yeah, well, I'm just like saying like regarding like relationship wise,
Hmm.
like
There's a little bit of a pressure kind of put on you to be as successful as you can be.
yeah, it really is just because of like my parents and like my grandparents and where they've come from and
Yeah.
everything that they've sacrificed for me to have an opportunity, you know? And I feel pressured from that.
Hmm.
I know it's not like their goal to make me feel like stressed,
Yeah.
you know? But I also know like if I were to say I I don't want to do school anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to not want to do school anymore.
I feel like though that's the climate of the United States. I saw something. It was a like a Business Insider YouTube video,
Mhm.
and they were talking about this. I guess over importance or like uh, the exaggeration of the importance of a college degree, and how if you don't go to college after high school, you're setting yourself up for failure. Because apparently, I didn't know this, but high schools offered like trade school like classes. Like you could literally start trade school in high school, finish it when you graduated, and then within a year of graduating high school, you'd already have a full-time job in a trade. And some people do really good for themselves depending on where you are.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of trades that are, I mean, fiending for people because there's such a focus on going to school, and that's constantly what's shoved down our throat in high school. Like, you have to apply. Are you not applying? Financial aid. We go to these things. You got to apply to school. I mean, we were forced to apply to Northwest Vista. I was like, I don't really want to apply to Northwest Vista though. And they're like, you gotta. And like, I was like, can I not though? Like, I already got into A&M and UT at that point, and I was like, I plan on going to one of those. Like, do I really need that? You have to. And I know it was kind of like a backup, but they didn't give an option at all. Like, have you thought about trade school? Never brought up. I don't think a single time when I was in high school that shit was brought up.
No, I only ever heard of like trade school from like my parents.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's like, there's such a stigma around the fact that if you don't go to college, like, you're not going to be successful.
Yeah, and I personally I don't think that's true.
I don't think it's true either. I know
You
a
know?
lot of people who are in a trade who are doing extremely well for themselves. I mean, even look at like people our age, like 21, 22, who are in trade, and they've been doing it since they've been out of high school. So it's been like 2.5 years, and they've already set themselves up for, they got a house, they got a nice car,
Mhm.
they're building wealth, building income. And I mean, that's not to say that a college degree isn't important, but the market is extremely saturated. There's so many college graduates graduating with the same exact degree that the market for jobs who want a college degree, it's hard. It's extremely what do I say? Like competitive.
Yeah.
I had a meeting with USAA recently, and the internship program alone, according to them, and I've heard from different people who did go through the internship program that it's not as competitive as they portrayed it to be, but apparently it is extremely competitive. And so I'm kind of like, I'm only majoring in marketing,
Yeah.
not in anything else. So now all of a sudden, now I'm thinking about getting a certification, and I'm thinking about securing internships, and it's kind of like, why do I have to do all of this on top of school to get a job when I graduate?
Mhm.
But then you look at trade school. You go get your certification or your license or whatever it is. Go straight into the workforce because they are in high demand because nobody is doing trade.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like, at this point, like, that's what is kind of pushed onto kids and was pushed onto our parents and our grandparents. And so they value higher education in that way, and they don't see other paths to success, you know?
Yeah, I will agree with that. Because my parents are, my mom specifically.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's mainly because like I grew up being told not to depend on a guy,
Yeah.
like for anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why they push it so much, because they want me to be independent. And I mean, that was before like we got together and stuff. I mean, they still want me to be independent, but like,
Yeah.
you know, they know like I'm working towards that now, and so they're not like too like forceful about it. My
Mm-hmm.
dad even told me at one point, like, if you find that college isn't for you, like after a year, like you don't have to do it. But I was gonna work, you know, like I was gonna have to find something.
Mm-hmm.
But I know like my mom, she was not about to have that, you know. So even
Yeah.
though my dad said that, that's great, but it's really like what my mom says, like for me goes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I like going to school, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like not wanting to go, you know. But there is like some pressure, I think,
Mm-hmm.
because they grew up being told that an education is the way to go. But that's because none of their parents had a degree,
Yeah.
you know, or have a degree. And so they got it right. And they're like, they're doing good. So they're like, you need to get a degree. And I mean, I agree. I want to go to law school and be a lawyer. So I need that degree.
Yeah.
But for some people, like what they want to do, they don't need one. And
Yeah.
that's okay.
No, it's dead ass. Like, I don't know. It's crazy. I think college is extremely overvalued and it's very expensive. And so people who don't get any sort of financial support end up out of college with a degree that they don't really know how to use. So now they don't have a job and they're in debt. And it's kind of like they get screwed over, you know. And there's a lot of resources at universities now that really set you up for success, recruiting seminars,
Oh, yeah.
shit like that. So it really is up to the student to take advantage of those. But, you know, more often than not, a student can graduate with a degree that they just have no idea, you know, like, well, what do I do now? You know?
I would agree. I do like how universities or like just schools, they have kind of like job fairs. Because I
Yeah.
know like St. Mary's, I follow their law school page like on Instagram, and they'll be like, come to the job fair, right? And I think it's for like law students, so I don't go
Mhm.
because I'm like, what am I even gonna have to say to these people?
Yeah.
But you go and you meet people, and it's just like a one-on-one conversation, because not a lot of people not a lot of people go to St. Mary's,
Yeah.
you know. So it's kind of like you can have those relationships. And it's kind of like what makes you stand out from everybody.
Yeah. I don't know. I think my GPA has been on a steady decline. I ain't gonna lie. I think going into college, and I've talked about this in previous episodes, I was starting from the bottom, essentially. I really tried my ass off in high school. I did very good, straight A student, top, it was like 1 point something percent of our class. Like, I did great for myself. And then college hit, and I just did not take it seriously at all. And I procrastinated a lot, and I just had a completely different attitude towards it.
Yeah.
And that could also be because I was experiencing a lot of like mental struggles at the time as well. But I was looking at it very differently. And so, you know, now I'm at this point where I definitely do care about school a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at it like, you know, I'm really getting close to graduation, because by next semester, I'm already going to be a senior. And so I'm like, fuck. I really got to step it up, because I'm going to graduate in like a year and a half, or like, you know, close to that. And so, you know, I really got to step my shit up. That way I can set myself up for success,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I think the thing that really has eased me with not getting as good of grades is that I've talked to professional staff that I've worked with, or other professors and people, and they're like, you know, you get out of a class what you put in. It's like, but at the end of the day, an employer doesn't really give a shit about your GPA. All they care about is that you know what you're doing. They're like, so if you know what you're doing and you pass this class, then you're good and you have nothing to worry about. He's like, but if you pass this class by cheating, right, a lot, and then you don't understand these basic concepts that an employer is expecting you to know, then all of a sudden they're like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, it's not so much about how you did or what your GPA is, but do you have a basic understanding of what it is that you actually learned throughout your time in college? And can you apply that to a job that you're applying for? And I was like, damn, okay.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely about like how knowledgeable you are about a certain topic.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, because more often than not, like the reason that I'd fumble a class wasn't because I didn't understand the concepts or the things that I was learning. It was straight up because I'd be late on assignments. I'd put them off till the last minute. And even though I knew them, I'd be flying through the answers as fast as I could. It was due in 10 minutes. So how much could I fucking do, So that was on me. And I did that a lot. And that's a big reason for why I got the grades I did. And so, definitely now going into this next semester, I have a very different attitude towards it. I'm a supervisor at my current job and I'm looking at things with a different perspective. Like, I need to step it up. I need to take things more seriously and I need to invest in myself more. That way, by the time I graduate college, I get more out of what I just put in.
Yeah, I get that. I feel like looking at like your current like relationship with school and mine, I feel like we switched. So like in high school, even though I was doing like good and stuff, like I got like A's and B's, right?
Yeah.
But I wasn't like stressed about it. And I wasn't like so focused on my GPA like I am now. And I don't know, I feel like that switched for me. Like my relationship with school kind of switched in that sense from high school.
Yeah.
Like now I'm not, like I'm focused on extracurriculars. Like I said before, like I'm in one now. And I have like work, so I guess that can count.
Yeah.
But back then I was more so focused on extracurriculars than I was my GPA. And so even though I did good, like I was like, oh, like I have all these extracurriculars, it's fine. And now that kind of like, that changed for me. And like you focused on like school. I know at the end, junior year and like senior year, you focused on your GPA a lot because you wanted to hit a certain like rank.
Yeah. And well, that's too because of like what teachers and, like the college readiness courses that they made us take or whatever. And like counselors constantly saying like, you need a high GPA, you need to be in extracurriculars, and you need to do all these things in order to get into the colleges or whatever. And it's like, it was that over, what is it? The importance of college and like what they told us. Like, that's why I was so stressed out, because I was like, damn, I need to do good. I'm not going to get into these schools. When in reality, I probably honestly, A&M and UT honestly weren't that competitive. And like, for some reason I had it in my head that they were, and like with the grades that I had and such, like I probably could have gotten into like other universities, but I didn't want to. Right. And now that like I'm going to UTSA, I'm like, damn, I really fucking tried my ass off low key to like, probably could have done nothing and still got into UTSA and like, I would have been chill. That's not to dog anybody. Sorry, that came out really wrong. But like, I'm at this point now where I'm like, everybody's telling me now, like, hey, you don't need to try as hard, bro. Like, it's okay as long as you understand the concepts, you do good, you put in effort, you're going to get something out of it. And that's what matters. And I'm like, damn, bro, all these professors are chill as fuck telling me all this. And then we had high school teachers talking about, like, your professors are going to be the hardest motherfuckers in the world. And it's like, nah, man. Like, I literally told somebody I missed an assignment, and I emailed my professor. I was honest. I'm like, hey, I overslept today and I ended up going out and watching a movie with my family and I just didn't have time to complete the assignment. I was like, I know it's a lot to ask, but do you think you could extend it? And he was like, yeah, for sure. You have till Wednesday. And it was Monday. And I'm like, what the fuck, bro? I literally told him that I overslept and watched a movie and he extended the assignment for me. What the fuck?
Professors are honestly super nice.
Yeah. And so
I don't know like what they're talking about, because I know one of my teachers in high school was like, your professor isn't going to help you.
Cap.
And I was like,
it's fucking cap, bro.
I was like, maybe you just don't want to help me.
I'm like, what university did you go to, bro? Because all my professors have been, well, honestly, there's one a-hole professor that I had my first semester of college.
Mm.
But that was like, he was willing to help, but it was just his expressions and like what he would say during class were very a-holy. And so, uh, other than that though, everybody's been a-okay.
Yeah, everyone's been like really nice professor wise,
Yeah.
But I will say I wouldn't say like put pressure on the students, but I'm just gonna say that, to like do good. And especially because like they know, like I've told all of them, because they'll ask like, what are you going to school for, right? And I'm like, oh, like I want to go to law school, I want to be a lawyer. And so I feel like because they know that, they put a lot more like pressure on you to do good, or like on me to do good.
Yeah.
And I mean, I appreciate it, because sometimes you do need like those little shoves of like, hey, like, are you doing okay? Like, like I told you this, or like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's helpful for me. I know other people might not like look at it that way, but I appreciate it.
No, definitely.
So it's kind of like how you were saying counselors were putting like all this stress on you, kind of like for you to get into those schools. Well, now it's like I have that from my professors, but we have a different like dynamic, so I don't feel like really pressured. I just feel like motivated.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it is. It's not pressure at this point from my professors, it's motivation. As opposed to in high school, it felt like pressure.
Yeah, because like they know like I do good.
Yeah.
And I've had like, I think one of them, I've had him once my freshman year and now like my sophomore year. And he'll be like, your writing's gotten better. And I think that's so nice that he like remembers.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't think so. But like hearing him say that, that's like super nice. And it just motivates me to like, you know what? I picked the right degree. Because sometimes I feel like I just picked one.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the truth. Like my dad, he knew that I wanted to go into law school. I don't know. Like at the time, like I thought it would be so cool to go to law school. And I feel like as I've continued to go through school, I have more of like an incentive to go.
Yeah.
Like I feel more motivated to go. I'm not like one of those people who are like, I wanted to be a lawyer since I was like 2. Like, no, like I'm figuring this out as I go. But my dad, knowing that I wanted to like try and get into law school at the time, because I was in like high school, he was like, because he was an advisor, he was like English degrees and like, I think it was history degrees, and I think it was, I think it's psychology. Or is it philosophy? One of those. He was like, any of those like will help you on the LSAT, because you have to think like logically, or like you do a lot of reading,
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what the LSAT is, honestly. Like you have to really think about these words, because one word and like the whole sentence is wrong. And it's like you have to decide which word makes that answer choice wrong or the right one. So, I mean, that is helpful, and that's why I picked like an English degree, because I was like, oh, like I like history, but you have to memorize so much, and I just didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, as I continue to go through school, I just feel like I picked the right thing. I know some people, they pick a degree and they're like, this is not what I thought. I do not want to do this. And they switch.
Yeah, I did that.
So everybody's like journey through school, I think, is different. I'm thankful though that I've kind of found like a passion and something I just picked on the whim.
No, I've definitely seen that. But I think we're at a pretty good place to close out the episode right now.
Yeah, we talked about a lot, honestly.
We
like
did.
In depth.
Yeah, we really got into it. I hope y'all enjoyed this little talk that we had. If you feel the same way about things, or if you feel like your relationships have changed over time, I think it's a good idea to kind of have that self-reflection, kind of look from the outside in and kind of be like, how have I changed? Am I prioritizing things that maybe I shouldn't? Or am I over prioritizing things that, could probably be a little lessened to give time and priority for other stuff in your life? It's kind of like that thing from the that author who wrote the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, where
Mhm.
like you have a glass cup and you have your big rocks, which represent the important things in your life, the small rocks, which represent the smaller things, but the things that you enjoy doing, like hobbies or whatever. Then you have the sand, which is all of the other free time and mundane things that take up daily life. And it's kind of like, depending on the order that you do them in, you can't, like, if you put the sand in first, then you won't be able to put all of the small rocks and all of the big rocks in. So then you have to make those sacrifices. Like, but then if you put the small rocks in first, then you won't be able to put all the sand and all the big rocks in. But if you put the big rocks in first, and then you pour the small rocks in, and then you pour the sand, all of a sudden everything fits because you prioritized the most important things down to the least important.
Mm-hmm.
And so kind of looking at that, like your relationship with things, with people, and with, you know, things that you do in your life, you know, what can you do differently? I don't know. That's something I thought about.
That's really interesting. I've never read that book, but every time you talk about it, I feel like I just learned something new.
I don't know if it's from that book specifically, but I know that he's the guy who kind of
Like said that.
came up with that exercise or that representation of prioritization and like things that you do in your life.
No, that's really interesting. I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm pretty sure there's a YouTube video of him doing it, so definitely look it up. It's like, his name is like Stephen R. something. I don't know. I have the book over there. But look up the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, that author right there. Look him up on YouTube doing like the glass with rocks and shit. He explains it a lot better than I did. But before we close out the episode, thank you guys so much for listening. Be sure to follow us on our socials at Live with JM Pod. Leave us a review and a rating on whatever podcasting platform it is that you're using. If you're listening to us on YouTube, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe, comment down below with something that you agreed with, how you're feeling. Maybe you feel similar to us in
Or maybe
these situations.
You don't feel similar.
Exactly.
Let us know.
Let us know. Spread the word. The podcast is growing. We really appreciate that. And, you know, if y'all can just share, review, and rate us, like, that's how we're going to continue to grow our audience and continue to build the community around us.
Yes.
So really appreciate all the support. And I think that's really it. If you had anything else to add.
No.
All right. Well, we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.